Now, what was Milton Fitch Sr. like? He was a guy at the dinner table who always had a strategy to do something, who would encourage his children to get involved and to do the best that they can do for other people. And when you talk about this 20 miles that he carried, so that you understand what the 20 miles look like. There are several post offices in Wilson. The one that does now carry my father's name is a new post office. But then there was the federal courthouse and post office at the corner of Douglas and Nash. We now know it as Imagination Station. Now, that's the real post office that was not a joke to my dad. He came home from fighting in the war, and he kind of came out of the North, and he thought he had the answer to all the questions. When something was wrong, he said, let's go fight. Let's go fight. And as Alan Thomas will tell you, he said, it don't matter how many times Milton Fitch agrees with you. If he agrees one time, he reserves the right to say no the second time, because it's on a total different issue. So with that in mind, he said, I want to get a job at the post office. And he wanted to get this job at the post office because all of my mother's friends coming home from the war could not get a job at the post office. So he devised a scheme. And what do you think that scheme was? It was to go and get a guy who was a little down on his luck, who probably served in the military and wasn't quite right at that time. And he asked that young man if he would go in and get an application for a clerk carrier's exam. And the man said, well, why don't you go? Matter of fact, why don't you give me enough money so I can buy me a bottle of wine? And when he gave the man enough money to buy a bottle of wine, the man went in and he got an examination application for clerk carrier. I don't need to go and tell you why it was that distinction and why there was that difference, but that's what happened. So when my father saw this man and he had the application, he said, I'm going to go see if they'll now give me one. They said, the United States government has no more applications. Can you imagine that? Well, the man wouldn't hire. He knew a man named Adam Clayton Powell, Jr., a Baptist minister in New York at Abyssinia Baptist Church, whom his aunt had reared and gave him the name of Little Lord Fauntleroy because, you know, he used to wear them little sailor suits. So Little Lord Fauntleroy talked to a guy named Abraham Rivercoff, who was the congressperson from Connecticut, New Haven. And they, together, petitioned the Postal Services to give this guy a job. He scored 98 on the examination, but couldn't get a job. That's just an example. But by the time it was all over and Powell did his magic and Rivercoff did his magic, then we have Milton Fitch with a job. But Fitch didn't just depend on somebody to do it for him and by himself. And God knows I'm glad that I live in America and that we don't have to go through that type of situation anymore, hopefully. But you know, he was doing that same thing all about what was going on in the city in order to try to make life better. So I tell you, thank you. It's a great day. My family is pleased to see you all. I want you to know that if I don't get to touch your hand and to say to each and every one of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you very much. As a man here in the old Primitive Baptist or Missionary Free Will Baptist Church says, I love you better than you love me. It ain't a darn thing you can do about it. God bless you all.